Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ChasePacks. My name is Chase. I operate ChasePacksCCG.com. I run this YouTube channel, ChasePacks. If you're looking for some Japanese Pokemon cards, soon to have some Chinese on the website as well, visit ChasePacksCCG.com. Got to get that out of the way early because I'll forget if I don't. In today's video, I want to talk about something that is somewhat of a meme right now, and it's Top Signal. Top Signal gang, people who are always constantly shouting Top Signal. I know a lot of people do it for the memes. They do it to be whatever. They do it to get attention. A couple things I came across the past couple days that hit me in a way where I went, okay, that didn't hit me like all the other irrational things that are happening in this hobby. We got boxes pre-releasing over $300. We got a set like Destined Rivals that is essentially brand new, selling for $700 a booster box. We got all these things that are, in my opinion, irrational, but not to the point where it just hits me in the face like, what's happening? Like a couple of things we're going to talk about today. So let's start. We'll talk about two things. One is way more drastic than the other. The other one, not so much, but it also made me think to a point where I'm like, why did that happen? Why is that happening? So let's get to the first thing. There was a Black Label Bubble Mew that just sold at auction. Actually, I don't know if it was at auction. I know it sold though for $236,000, like 200 some dollars. That card came out of Paldean Fates, obviously. Paldean Fates released in 2024. I don't remember the month, but it released in 2024. The set's not 3 years old. Paldean Fates just rotated out of rotation in April. When I first saw that news, I didn't know what to think about that. I was like, $236,000 for the Bubble Mew. In a Black Label. Now, I'm well aware that the Black Label is the hardest grade to get in grading. But I mean, listen, that set's not even 3 years old. That card is, I don't want to call it plentiful, but people are still ripping Paldean Fates frequently. I tune into a lot of rip and chips. I'm never a buyer of rip and chips. I do not run a rip and chip. But I watch rip and chips because I like to look. For me, it's a little bit of education on what are people wanting, like what sets are being ripped the most. I find it very interesting, so I watch a lot of them. Paldean Fates gets ripped every night in plenty. I wouldn't call it mass quantity. It gets ripped plenty. We'll say that. There are plenty of Bubble Mews that are hitting the market often. So there's like 2 Black Label Bubble Mews that have ever been graded. This one just sold for $236,000. Honestly, anything that sells in the Pokemon hobby for $236 is insane. If you said, hey, listen, something just sold in the Pokemon hobby for $236,000, my first thought would be, it's a vintage booster box. That's my first thought. Or a vintage low pop card graded in a 10, a PSA 10, or a Black Label. Now, when you say, okay, it's a Bubble Mew from Paldean Fates, I don't care if it's only 2 in the world. $236,000 for an SIR from the Scarlet and Violet era in a Black Label, doesn't really matter which card it is. That is insane. I'm going to give you a hot take. This has really nothing to do with the underlying theme of this video. The Bubble Mew for me it's a cool card, but by no means is it my favorite card from the era. It might not even be in the top 10. Let me know down in the comments. Is the Bubble Mew your favorite card in the era? Because for selling for $236,000, I know it's a Black Label. That's insane. Now, if it was whatever, a Charizard, some kind of niche, I don't know. You can tell I'm at a loss for words. $236,000 for a Bubble Mew. Black Label or not, the set's not even 3 years old. The card is, the packs that this card comes in are still being ripped. I just watched somebody open 36 Paldean face cards on some random rip and ship. I should shout him out. I don't remember the name of the stream. Just some guy opened 36 packs of Paldean Fates on some random rip and ship I was watching last night. They're getting opened all the time. These Bubble Mews are getting pulled a reasonable amount all the time. It's just insane. The point of what I'm trying to make here is the fact that the Bubble Mew, considering everything we know about Paldean Fates not being an old set, the Bubble Mew Paldean Fates packs still being ripped, as popular as rip and ships are, these packs are expensive, but they're not that expensive. Evolving Skies is however many a pack, $40, $50 a pack, I don't know. It's still being ripped. I see people buying 30, 20 pack lots of Evolving Skies all the time. So Paldean Fates is getting ripped all the time. $236,000 for a Black Label Bubble Mew. Let me know down in the comments. What do we do with that information? That hit me like nothing has hit me in this hobby in a year and a half. I don't know what to do with it. I hate to be one of those people who go, okay, is that a top signal? Because it sure feels like one. It kind of reminds you of like the COVID era when you had regular old, I say regular old, but I mean, let's be realistic about it. Unlimited base set Charizards in a PSA 9 selling for $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. I don't know. I didn't know what to do with that information then, and this hits me a lot harder than that did. Second thing I wanted to talk about. Chaos Rising release. I was watching the Nostalgianomics stream. Watched his video today because I was interested on what statistics he had for the Chaos Rising release on his rip and ship. This video released today, I think. He said he sold more Chaos Rising on release day than he did Ascended Heroes. One caveat, Ascended Heroes was more expensive than Chaos Rising on release day per pack, right? So you could chalk it up to, all right, it's the new set, the best set, right? We all know that. The newest set, everybody wants it. And then a lot of the times, you know, if it's not actually one of the best sets in the era, it's the best set for like a week, 3 days. It goes back to people wanting to open Destined Rivals, Ascended Heroes, Prismatic Evolutions, right? Which could be what we see here. But the fact that Chaos Rising outsold Ascended Heroes on release day, I don't know what to do with that information either. I'm aware that it's cheaper, which that could definitely be a thing, right? People are like, okay, it's the new set. These packs are significantly cheaper than these other sets that I like. I'm going to buy some of these. But that also just signals that there's more people putting more time and more money and more of their attention into the hobby now more than ever. Because if you can have a set like Ascended Heroes, which we all agree for the most part is one of the best sets we've seen in three years, like out of Scarlet and Violet and Mega Evolution, you could argue it's the best one out of both of those eras so far. So the fact that Chaos Rising, which is a set that really has one chase card, let's be honest with ourselves. I mean, if you're one of those people out there who really, really like Chaos Rising, most likely you're just a humongous Greninja fan. Froakie, Frogadier, Connecting Arts, I get it. It is sweet. The Greninja card is awesome. But the fact that we have a set that's, let's be honest, it's a mid set compared to a set like Ascended Heroes. If it outsells Ascended Heroes on release day, and they're back-to-back sets, right? I don't know what to do with that information either. I said that about the Bubble Mew. I'm going to say it about the Chaos Rising. I don't know what to do with that information. It's almost like shocking to a point where I'm at a loss for words. And when I'm at a loss for words and I don't know what to do with the information or how to think about it, for one, it makes me feel like, okay, we're in a irrational argument or irrational market, which you could argue that we've been in an irrational market for a year and a half, 2 years now. Maybe not 2 years, a year and a half. Ever since this bull market really started with Prismatic, Surging Sparks, you could argue Twilight Masquerade, not really though. So I don't know what to do with that information. Again, irrational market, depending on your how you interpret irrational. Again, you could argue that it's been a year and a half of irrationality in the market. But with this information, it's the Bubble Mew especially, it's kind of the most irrational thing I feel like I've heard in a year and a half. The Black Label Bubble Mew selling for $236,000 might be the most irrational thing I've heard in the last year and a half. I think the record-holding Mew card sale before that was like the Korokoro promo in a PSA 10. And I think, from what I understand, this card outsold that card by like $80,000. And the Korokoro Mew selling for what it sold, which was like this month, I think, was somewhat understandable to me. I was like, okay, it's an old card. It's a low pop card. It's somewhat of a niche card, being a Japanese promo. I could see why somebody would want to spend, I think, don't quote me, I think it was like 156, 136, whatever it was, $1,000 for that Korokoro Mew. That's understandable to me. It's really, really pricey, but it's less irrational than the Black Label Bubble Mew for me. Considering Paldean Fate's age, considering that people are still opening a lot of Paldean Fates. But I got to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments. I'm not one to shout top signal. Don't think I've ever even said top signal in a video ever in my life. Let me know down in the comments. When you hear this information, when you hear the Black Label selling for $236,000 with the Bubble Mew, how does that set with you? For me, it's like, where do we go from here? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. ChasePacks, if you're looking for some Japanese Pokemon cards. Let me know if you're interested in Chinese. I know a lot of you probably are. Those gem sets are cool. Considering buying some of those. Mega Dream, Ninja Spinner on the site. Looking to add some Japanese as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.